If you're thinking about moving and you want to learn about what everyday life is going to be like in your new town, this is the place for you. On Open House, we sit down with local, top producing real estate agents to help you find the best places to live in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So if you don't want buyer's remorse and you want to find your dream town, we are here for you. So go ahead and book a free call with us and we'll help guide you to the area that is right for you. Now, let's jump in and learn about your new home.
Hi, this is Mike with Open House Media, and if you're ready to take a deep dive into what it's like to live, work, and play in Middleburg, Virginia, then you found the right video, because I have Leslie Woods-Hulse with me, and she is a licensed real estate agent who knows all the ins and outs of Middleburg and is ready to help us, from a local's perspective, understand more about the town. So how long have you been a realtor?
I've actually been licensed in Virginia since 1995 in Virginia as a realtor. Yes.
So you go way back.
Yes, I go way back.
How long have you lived in Middleburg?
We live approximately 5 miles outside of Middleburg in a little town called Philemont, Virginia. And we've lived here for 29 years.
Oh, wow. So yeah, I think I have the right person.
Yes, you do.
What made you get into real estate?
Well, actually, a long time ago, I used to ride horses a lot. I competed in equine events such as combined training. It's called eventing. And I trained with the British Olympic eventing team in Britain after I had gone to Porlock Equestrian School to get my assistant trainer's license. And I came out of England and moved back to the United States, still continued to do some eventing. And what occurred from that point was a lot of money going out, not enough coming in. And someone said real estate would be a really good option for you. So I decided to dive into it. And that was in 1984 when I got licensed in Illinois. And I've been in real estate ever since.
As someone who I have some friends who partake in the equestrian events and such. I know that the money going out greater than money coming in is a common theme amongst those circumstances.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So when it comes to Middleburg, what are we looking at here as far as size? Are we talking a city or maybe just a more of a kind of a small town?
Well, actually, it's one of us. Middleburg is a town in Loudoun County in the U.S., and its population is approximately 673, and it could go up and down depending on the time of year, of course. Because a lot of people come in for the spring and the summer and then leave for the wintertime, sometimes going down to Florida or other locations around the world. And it is in the southernmost town along Loudoun County's border of Fauquier County. And the town of Middleburg is known as the nation's horse and hunt capital because of the Chronicle of the Horse, which is one of the oldest equine magazines in the country.
Is that how you ended up there? The
No, actually, my husband was transferred back to Virginia, and that was in 1995. And he worked at Dulles Airport, and I just stayed with real estate. But we're very close to Middleburg because I love horses.
So the equine thing was a bit fortuitous then.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So I'm assuming Middleburg's been around quite a long time.
Actually, believe it or not, Middleburg was established in 1787 by the Revolutionary War Lieutenant Colonel and Virginia statesman Levin Powell, who purchased the land that constitutes of the town for $2.50 an acre. And he purchased it from Joseph Chin, who was the first cousin of George Washington. And it was previously, the town was called previously Chin's Crossroads. And Powell chose the name of Middleburg because the town was located midway between Alexandria and Winchester. And so when they would take their horses and carriages out to Winchester in the summertime, because it was cooler in the summertime in Winchester, Middleburg was in the middle. And what was fun about it was that there was a tavern that they built up. And this particular tavern is called the Red Fox Tavern. And it's the oldest original tavern in the United States.
That's one of the things I love about doing these things. Like I said, it's just you find like all types of really cool things, especially, you know, in the Maryland, Virginia, you know, Delaware area. There's so many like small little facts that it's just like, wow, that's really cool, you know.
Oh, it totally is. It really is.
You know, when you talk about that oldest, like, and I'm sure that was probably a stopping point along the way. You know, that was probably the 1700s equivalent of a Wawa. You know.
Oh my gosh, of course it was. Well, because, you know, I mean, when you think about it, I mean, if you're on a horse and carriage and you're going from Alexandria to Winchester, that's about 62 miles. Going all the way out that way, the way they did on Route 50. So that's Route 50. Okay, so you got to go over the mountains and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the road that they have now, Route 50, wasn't the original road. The original road was actually would go over the mountains because they couldn't go, flat areas. And thank God for excavation, because now they've got, a nicer way to go. And it was very, very nice. But it would take, few days, like 2, 3, 4, 5 days to get up to Winchester. So it would be like a big trek. I mean, it wouldn't be just packing a lunch. I mean, you'd be packing everything to go up to Winchester. So Middleburg was really the middle part, and it was really rather fascinating. Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that Middleburg, is kind of a commuters area in the sense of businesses and stuff like that. It being so small, there are probably a lot of people that are coming home to roost there, but probably work in the surrounding areas.
The average commute for individuals, the largest commuter system is approximately 35-minute drive going from Middleburg to wherever they're working. And if you're looking at 35 minutes, that's usually going to be somewhere in the vicinity of Fairfax, off of Route 50, maybe 66, but also the other way, which is going towards Winchester and up to Mount Weather and working for FEMA. Yes, so that's one of the things. And then the majority of people who do work or do live in Middleburg and do transfer out of Middleburg to go to work, majority of transportation is going to be a vehicle, a car.
So is there any, if they were to stay local, is there any companies or businesses in the area?
Oh my golly, yes, there's a lot of businesses. One of the largest businesses that is in Middleburg is the Salamander Resort and Spa. And the Salamander Resort and Spa was actually established, it was established a little bit earlier than 2013. The resort itself is actually one of the largest in Middleburg. It actually features 168 guest room and suites, and every one of them has a beautiful scenic view out of them. And it has a 23,000 square foot spa that represents or has 14 treatment rooms and a private outdoor courtyard with a heated pool. In addition, the Salamander also has some of the finest equestrian facilities and programs in the country. And on 25 acres is dedicated to riding, and a 14,000 square foot stable. And then they also have a fabulous culinary program that's fabulous. And then you can also go to the Piedmont Grill or the Gold Cup room for savories or wine or beer, whatever you want. But the Salamander also has archery programs. They also have nature hikes, tennis, zip. They have a fabulous zip line. If you ever want to do zipping from one place to another, but zip lines are great. And then, and then the thing that really, really is one of their very, very best is the film festival. And the film festival is usually in October. It's around about the same time that the Middleburg races are in. And the film festival, they feature all the better films, and people come from all over. Bo Derek and all those people around. They get to see the film festival because it's the chosen films that are being presented for that year. So it's really quite an event to come to.
And I gotta say, there's definitely worse positions to be in than living next to a spa and resort. Like, I don't know.
It's a beautiful spa. It's wonderful. It's very relaxing. It's there's something about it that when you leave, you feel whole. You feel relaxed. You feel recharged.
Yeah, there's I would put spas in the category of things that I didn't know I liked until I did it.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely like that. Yes.
And then
absolutely.
It was like, oh, okay, you know what? I can actually relax a little bit,
Right.
But then I would worry about my financial side if I had one down the street from me.
Right. Well, you have to wonder as to what kind of thing you want to spend your money on. Absolutely.
Yeah, everything in moderation,
Yes, exactly.
Right. So when it comes to spending money, I'm assuming you've got a decent amount of restaurants, bars, maybe some, things of that nature in there.
Yes. Middleburg, the actual town, the main street of the town has a plethora of different restaurants. I mean, you can go anywhere from oysters to French catering. You can go from a hamburger to a very elegant meal. So you have a lot of different choices, a lot of choices. A lot of the seating is outside and inside. That's what makes it so beneficial. And also they have a lot of antiques, and they also have a lot of very, very nice boutiques for clothing and antique shops. And then, of course, a couple little thrift shops that are never, ever empty because they always have a lot of things in there. And then, of course, tax shops. So that's the thing that really makes it wonderful. But the one place that's always unique that you want to do in Middleburg is go to the fun shop. The fun shop has just about everything you could possibly ever imagine that you ever thought you needed, if you needed it.
That sounds like a place I'm not going to take my wife to.
Oh my God, you would definitely want to take your wife there. Yes, and then you can go across the street and you can have a glass of wine at the Red Horse Tavern.
Okay, now that we've introduced wine, I'm on board. That's
Oh well, then definitely, yes, absolutely, definitely do wine. Well, because they do have a wonderful vineyard there. They have two vineyards that are in Middleburg. One is the Green Hill Winery, and then the other one is the Boxwood Winery. Both of them are excellent. Both.
Gotcha. So I think we've established there's plenty of ways to enjoy yourself and plenty of ways to spend that money in Middleburg in some fun manner. What about schools?
Okay.
I know you said we're dealing with a relatively small town, but schools are still going to be important, obviously.
Right. Well, the schools actually are really quite amazing. The Middleburg Community Center is a wonderful school. That's an excellent. That's a charter school, and the Middleburg Community Charter School it's a nonprofit school, and it gears itself to to children and so forth, and it's very, very beneficial for education. Also, there's the Hill School, and the Hill School goes from kindergarten to 8th grade, and that's a private school. It's an excellent school, very, very good, and that was established in 1926, so quite some time ago. And then Foxcroft, which was founded in 1914, And that is an excellent school, and that one goes from ninth grade through to 12th grade. That is absolutely fabulous.
That there's a good school around that you feel comfortable sending your children to, you know.
Oh my gosh, yes. And and of course also within Middleburg itself, the thing that really makes it really beneficial, and as far as historical side of it is concerned, is, and the National Sport Museum, that one itself is absolutely amazing because it has a lot of history, a lot of art, and it also has an education connected with it for arts and so forth. And then also, the equine side of it, you've got the Middleburg spring races, the Middleburg fall races. That's huge. And then also polo is big, very big in Middleburg.
Well, yeah, anytime you get in that equestrian side of things, it's polo seems like pretty adjacent to that.
It is. Well, also the other thing regarding equestrian is the Middleburg parade. It's in December. It's the first Saturday in December, and you have the entire Middleburg hunt that comes down the street with the hounds, and all the riders are all dressed in their entire, the hunting crowd, and it's usually has sometimes anywhere between 50 to 100 riders come through along with the hounds. So it is really incredible.
Nice. All right, so obviously it's a play an area pretty steeped in history, but what about things of the active nature, things like trails, parks, stuff like that from the I'm going to assume given that area, there's some pretty scenic stuff to go about and navigate your way through.
The thing that really makes it nice is the Mount Defense Historic Park. And you can explore the site that was originally a key point in the Battle of Middleburg, which was fought in June 19th, 1863. And then that was just 10 days after the Battle of Brandy Station, which was 14 days previously. But also, as far as nature is concerned, the gardens for the Natural Sporting Library are absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And then also you have the Glenwood Park. That is absolutely beautiful. And you'll see, a lot of steeplechase races there. And then, of course, the fence is there. But it's a beautiful park. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so there's a lot of things around Middleburg that you can go to that are, for trails, the hiking trails. Not far from there, you've got Mount Weather, which you've got the Appalachian Trail, which is not much more than about maybe 7 miles up the road, and you can be on the Appalachian Trail. Or further over, you've got the Sky Meadows Park, which is just gorgeous. I mean, the views are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But everything around Middleburg is just stunning, absolutely stunning. So yes, you can walk up and down the street, and then you can go off the streets, and then also the gardens that are over at Salamander Park or Salamander Resort. Beautiful gardens, absolutely stunning gardens.
Excellent.
So yes,
excellent.
you can do a lot of nature there.
Yeah, it's that area, where you're kind of in the middle.
Uh-huh.
It's a little on the nose, but that I think that's one of the kind of gems of smaller towns in that vein, is that there's a lot that's untouched, which means there's a lot to kind of explore and go through and navigate, and that's always fun when it comes to trails and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness, yes. It really is. It is beautiful, and it's wide open space, and and the beauty of not having a road that goes around Middleburg that they have pushed away quite a bit is very nice. And also the zoning of 1 unit per 50 acres or more, which is what they had rezoned in the late 1990s, really benefited in the fact that there's a lot of space out there. And there's a lot of beneficial, in fact, Virginia Tech has the Mare Center there that specializes in the equine study of mares that are pregnant and they study the mare while the foal is within her. And then when the foal is born, they auction the foals off after they're 6 months old, of course. And that funds the center. So it's education and trails and nature. You have it all. It's just beautiful. And of course the vineyards.
So we talked a little bit about zoning there. What type of homes can you find in the area?
The average price of homes in the Middleburg area, which I ran some figures on it. There's 2 that are coming soon. 2 properties are coming soon. The current price is $1,250,000 and $1,425,000. However, the ones that are active, there's a very affordable $435,000 home, and then one that's active, which is going for $13,200,000.
Oh, a nice reasonable amount, obviously.
Right, yeah, a reasonable amount. Yeah, if somebody's, interested in purchasing
reasonable for
particular
someone,
price.
I'm sure.
Right. I mean, the prices are dropping a little bit, but not that much. And then, of course, the ones that are actually under contract are ranging in value anywhere between $2,150,000, which is the average ones, and then the pending ones range anywhere from $578,000 going up to $1,100,000.
Yeah,
So
I feel like that type of area, you're paying for your space and you're paying for a bit of your seclusion. You want some peace and quiet. There is something beneficial about not having neighbors.
Well, see that and that's the one thing a lot of people say, that when you're buying out in Middleburg, you're spending a lot of money, but yes, you're also getting 50 to 150 acres or 250 acres. So the acreage is going to be what you're paying for. The structure that's actually on there is going to be pretty much the same price of a structure that you're going to find maybe in Ashburn or Leesburg or somewhere. But the fact is that the acreage is what you're paying for. And that's what makes it so nice. So when you're looking at the minimum zoning of land, and that in itself is very beneficial.
If you're someone working in DC, it's very easy to see a circumstance where you want to come home to your peace and quiet. You want to come home to your space. You want that, that home to be the place you can really relax and not feel the pressure of the city and that type of setup,
Well, you're absolutely right. And there's a lot of individuals who do have second homes in the city. So they'll have a home in the country and they'll have a home in the city. They may have an apartment in DC, or, in the Alexandria area. And then, of course, they have their country home. So that's quite common. That's very common.
So if you could give one piece of advice to a potential buyer, moving in there, what would it be?
Well, the advice is be prepared to spend for the peace and quiet and tranquility.
Yeah.
Finding out what is most important to you. I know, living close to Alexandria, because I've shown a lot of properties in the Alexandria recently, the prices for Alexandria can range anywhere between, probably somewhere in the 9s, which is sort of the affordable price range there, going up to 2, 3, 4 million. And when you're looking at a small house on maybe an acre in the Alexandria area for that price, and you go out to Middleburg and you spend 4 million, well, you got 50 acres. So, it's all relative. It's all relative.
And, I think there's a lot of benefits to being kind of city adjacent, where it's like everything's at your fingertips. You could go to DC, you could go to Alexandria, you could do all these things, and it's not that far, but then you get to come home to your peace and quiet, and that's to me has always been a really appealing side of an area like that, where you can have all the perks and not have to deal with the hustle bustle and congestion of a city on a day-to-day basis. Even if it's just well, we want to go see a show this evening. Well, we can hop on into DC. It's not a problem, you know, but then you get to come home to that peace and quiet, which I think is as you get older, you generally put a lot more value on it.
You're absolutely right. We've been into the city, into the Kennedy Center to go to plays and the symphony and so forth. I used to be on the board for Loudon Symphony, so I love the symphony. And going into DC and going to the Kennedy Center really is not that far. I mean, it really is not that far. And so when you look at the distance, it takes about an hour, maybe about an hour to get into the city on a Friday night, which isn't really that bad. I mean,
No, not at all.
you know, whereas the average commute in most cities across the United States, your average commute is anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yep.
And that's the average commute. And this is not a commute. This is just going into the city once in a while.
Yeah, exactly. You get to get in, get out, go back to your peace and quiet.
That's right.
I think that's
right.
like I said, it's one of those things that is surprisingly important the more you really put thought into it.
Yes. Yes,
All
it
right.
is.
Well, I would like to thank you for being here today. I think we covered a lot. I think we really dove into Middleburg, and I think we learned a lot about that and the surrounding area. So thanks for answering all the questions today and giving us a feel for what it's like to be in that area. If you're interested in moving to Middleburg, then please see our contact information below the video. Ask for Leslie here, and we'll arrange for her to give you a call and help you potentially transition into some peace and quiet in Middleburg.